BILT. Everyone loves to talk about BILT. Well, today we're not talking about BILT. We're talking about their competitor that beat them to the punch on one of the things they want to do. There's now a way to earn points paying your mortgage. Today we're going to talk about the Mesa Homeowners Credit Card. My name is Sean. I'm here with my co-host.
Hi, everyone. I'm Sherwin, the other half of the Credit Card BS podcast. So today we're going to bring to you a more esoteric new option that has dropped. It's called the Mesa Homeowners Card, and its main draw is that you can earn points on mortgage payments with a bunch of catches that we'll go into. But what's really exciting is that this new option has no annual fee and no foreign transaction fee. Its main draw is that you can earn 1x points on your mortgage payments. From my understanding, you're not directly putting the mortgage on this credit card, but rather they have a portal through which you can route your mortgage payment through, and you'd earn 1x points. On that, with a limit of up to 100,000 points per year earned through this method, and you must spend at least $1,000 a month on the card to get those mortgage points. Sean, thoughts about these offerings?
Yeah, it seems very similar to kind of the whole BILT rent offering in that sense. Obviously, the limit here is higher than what BILT was at 50K. So that's cool. Obviously, that means you can actually spend, you can have a very, very expensive mortgage and you can still be earning, points on it. I definitely think a lot of these programs like BILT and Mesa, they rely a lot on the psychology of I need to be earning points on everything I spend on, not necessarily the end math, right? Like, yes, 100,000, to earn the maximum 100,000 points a year, you got to have a mortgage that will cost you $100,000 a year. That's pretty expensive. And if you're at that level of wealth where you can afford a mortgage that expensive, are these 100K points going to make a difference? I don't know. But I think it is cool. Obviously it's not costing you anything to earn points this way. So that is nice. But Sherwin, I think we should talk about, how 100,000 points, what are these worth, right? Like what can we actually do with these? Does it actually, are these worthless? Do they have something good to use with them?
Yeah, so they actually have a number of transfer partners. But if you're not interested in the transfer partners, you can redeem for 1.3 cents per point on the travel portal. Not bad. 0.8 cents per point on gift cards, pretty bad, and 0.6 cents per point statement credits, which I think you should avoid. 1.3 cents per point, it's not bad. I think it's sort of on par with the Chase Sapphire Preferred 1.25 cents per point in the travel portal. I think BILT also lets you do 1.25 cents per point, so 1.3 is pretty solid there. Now the transfer partners are interesting. I think it's a much more limited set compared to BILT and the other bank partners. On the airline side, you have Air India 101, Finnair, which is an Avios program 101, Hainan Airlines 101, Thai Airways 121, and Vietnam Airlines 121. I think among these programs, only one I'm really familiar with and interested in is probably Finnair, since they are now an Avios program, so which can be pretty useful. On the hotel side, I think it's more interesting personally. They have Accor as their partner. So remember that each Accor point is about 2 euro cents. So let's just say 2 cents each. So since it transfers 1.5 to 1, each Mesa point, when you transfer this, turns into about 1.5 cents per point for this Accor redemption. Which is not bad.
Yeah, it's definitely better than what the other transfer partners offer. For Citi, it's 2 to 1. For BILT, it's 2 to 1. And so having the ability to earn it at a better rate is pretty nice. I agree with you. I think really Finnair is probably the main airline transfer partner. I know Air India can be good for US domestic flights. I don't think it's that amazing, but I think it could be pretty decent. And yeah, or Core at 1.5 would kind of be my backup pick if I just need to get some decent value for my points. I could see that, having a use case.
Yeah, I mean, my big wish, if they get since they have all these random Asian airlines, if they can get Starlux Airlines on here, I would seriously consider this card. That's the new Taiwanese airline that has, and I think, it would be much easier to redeem through their program than on Alaska, where the availability is going to be more limited. So now let's talk about the multipliers of this card. So beyond just earning points on your mortgage, there are also other things you can earn on, and it seems a lot home oriented. So you get 3x on home decor, home improvement, general contractors, cable and streaming services, home insurance, property taxes, maintenance, telecom, utilities, and daycare. Of these, insurance and property taxes actually stand out to me. Those can be pretty hefty expenses for many people, especially property taxes. If you live in certain places, it can be quite expensive, like where I live. And usually counties charge like a 2 or 2.2% processing fee on here. So if you can earn 3x points on that, it can make sense to use this card even with that fee.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting to see things like general contractors and like home improvement on here at 3x. Like those could be very large purchases, right? Especially if you're like doing like a whole house renovation. So that is actually like pretty cool, because normally like when you're paying a contractor, right, most you're gonna earn is like 2x on something like a Venture X or something like that. So that is nice. That is definitely nice. I think the multipliers are actually pretty interesting. At least on like the 3x are pretty good. There's also like 2x gas, groceries, and EV charging, and 1x everywhere else. Pretty standard. Nothing too remarkable there. But I think the 3x are interesting, especially because what I like about these X categories is these are the type of categories that you would actually spend a lot of money in if you're going to buy something there. Whenever there's like a card that comes out like, oh, we earn like X at streaming services, I'm like, whoa! You know, I get my $10 Apple Music subscription. Like, wow. You know, like I'm not okay. But something like this, it's like, okay, there's people, you know, depending on, you know, what kind of, you know, money earning, may spend like 50K on a home renovation. And so that's like actually earning 3x, and that means something.
I don't think we should give them any ideas about possibly instituting a cap on these, because I could definitely see that happening. Like if people are spending a lot of money on like general contractors and home stuff. So
yeah, I got a friend that he's just working on my house all day. He's just, man, I don't know.
Okay. In addition, there are actually a bunch of credits, which is really interesting, especially on a no annual fee card. You usually don't really expect a bunch of credits, but these sort of seem like advertisements to me. So you get $65 toward a $65 big box membership, which is some sort of warehouse club, $200 annually on Thumbtack, which is a home maintenance and cleaning service, $120 on the annual WAG exclamation point, which is pet care, $120 annually on the farmer's dog, which is pet food, $100 armadillo home warranty, and $120 in Lowe's, but it's split up $30 per quarter because of course it is. And that credit is only for the first year. So how many of these services have you heard of before, Sean?
I've never heard of Big Box until literally just right now. Armadillo home warranty, not heard of that. Ever. Obviously, I've heard of Lowe's. Farmer's Dog, I've heard of. WAG, I've heard of. The Thumbtack one is interesting because I wonder, like, what, like, is that like an annual? Like, you know, you could probably like hire like a housekeeper for like $200. I'm like, oh, could you get like a free, you know, housekeeping like day, you know, for this card? It's not bad. Honestly, like, yes, these are kind of like weird credits, but I'm impressed because this is like a no annual fee card, and I really appreciate how most of these are like annual credits. It's not some stupid like, oh, buy, you know, 5 Thumbtack purchases and then you get like $50 off the 6th one or something, right? Or it's not like the stupid like Lyft ones, you know, that's like take 3 Lyft rides in a month and get $5. Like it's actually like, okay, like there is tangible
United
value.
Cards.
Yeah.
I agree. Lowe's is the only one I've heard of, to be honest. I mean, it's quarterly and only first year, but something. Yeah, I will say like, yeah, these credits are highly specific, and I guess they're cool since there's no annual fee. But like, if there were an annual fee and I had to like justify that by using these, it would be like extremely annoying. Probably would not bother. Yeah. So let's wrap up here and talk about how this compares to BILT. So I think BILT generally has better transfer partners. We're hopeful like that this Mesa card will add more in the future. Yeah, I hate to say this, but I think they probably have the worst transfer partners out of all the major programs we're familiar with right now. Even Wells Fargo is better. I mean, the core ratio is interesting, but we want to see more on the airline side for sure. I also think the minimum transaction thing is interesting. So like BILT requires you to have 5 transactions per month to earn like any points on the card, basically. Mesa does not have a minimum for the general earning on the card, but it requires you to spend $1,000 per month to earn the points on the mortgage payments. So that's something you want to keep in mind. This is not one of those cards where I can have it only to be used for mortgage and nothing else. Like you're not going to get any value from that. And also, you know, BILT does plan on adding points for mortgage payments. We still don't know all the details from that. I mean, there was some survey that they sent out, create a bunch of rumors about what they might do. But I'm also interested in seeing if they sort of adjust your strategy or their setup based on this card's launch. So those are all my thoughts. Sean, did you have any thoughts?
Yeah, I think it's an interesting program. I think, yeah, like with the 1,000 a month minimum, it's not for everyone. I think the credits are really nice. I'm guessing, obviously the credits are advertisements. They're getting paid from those companies. They're probably also, betting on the fact they have to do $1,000 a month minimum transaction to even earn points. That also helps them a bit. I think it's an interesting situational card. I would say, like, if you are somewhat, ironically, like, I think this is a card that's really good for like pretty wealthy people, because if you have like a really expensive mortgage and you renovate your house a lot, or you spend a lot on, things like that. Like it's you're gonna get a lot more benefit there. I don't think it's, especially with the transfer partners not being the best. I don't think this is like I'm gonna burn a 524 slot and forego getting an ink to get this card. But I think it is definitely like interesting, like a legitimately interesting card.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, so let us know what your thoughts are on this Mesa Homeowners Card. Is it a hit or a miss? Let us know. If you enjoyed today's video, please like it and subscribe to our channel. It greatly helps support the channel. Also, if you use one of our links down in the description below, if you're interested in applying for any cards, that would also greatly help support us. And Sean, why don't you plug our Discord?
So yes, if you want to connect with an elite group of award travelers and credit card enthusiasts entirely for free, check out the Traveling Discord group at the link in the description. You will learn a ton, I promise you. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next week.